principal. And who thought that I would be presenting in front of all these amazing people. This is really wonderful. So as most of you know, I'm Megan or Meg Titcomb. I grew up in Henniker. I grew up going to the Henniker Congregational Church. My parents are Deb and Dan. And I've been a nurse for the past 11 years, which is kind of wild to say. And in the last couple of years, I have transitioned into more of a health coaching, health promotion role. I really love being a nurse, and I saw a lot of things. I saw a lot of hardship and loss during my time as a bedside nurse in the ICU, and that kind of pushed me into this role, into this position of talking about end of life, moving more towards coaching, helping people make kind of changes in their life in order to live a life that's full of health and sorry, I'm kind of losing my words here, but I've transitioned into coaching from working at the bedside. I saw a lot of loss when I was working in the ICU, and that was really hard for me to see. And during COVID, a lot of people were unprepared. I think all of us were unprepared to experience all of that, like the pandemic and all the loss and all the getting ill and everything. And so as a nurse, it was really difficult to see so many people unprepared, and it was really hard. I'm sure some of you were affected by this, having family members that didn't have their wishes in place and having to maybe guess what they would have wanted. And that's what's kind of led me into this direction. You know, you may wonder, like, why do you want to talk about end of life? Why do you want to talk about death? And it's because I've seen how hard it is on the families when those things are not in place. And on the other hand, I've seen how beautiful it can be when those things are in place. And I love sharing this story of this woman who was so cool. She was my patient in the ICU, and she got a diagnosis, and she kind of was at a crossroads, and it was either, you know, treat this diagnosis, do this intervention, or kind of embrace the natural path of things, let nature take its course. And I almost always saw people deciding to treat. That was sort of just the natural path. And she didn't. She decided, no, I'm done. I don't want to treat this thing. I'm ready to kind of embrace whatever transition is next for me. And it was like a light flip, like switched. She went right into planning mode. She got a pen and paper and she started planning out her funeral. She started writing down like what flowers she wanted. She knew she didn't want lilies because she didn't want the smell to remind her loved ones of her passing. What's that?
The pastor is allergic.
Yeah.
So we don't have lilies.
Yeah, she probably took that into consideration. But she wrote down her like eulogy and who she wanted to be there and all of these things. And all the while her daughters were there at her bedside watching her just totally take charge and plan her entire funeral and everything afterwards. And I was in awe because I'd never seen anybody do that before. And she just fully embraced it. And it was really beautiful. And then as she did all of her planning, and then the next day I was the nurse again, and she was all of a sudden kind of like actively dying. Before she had been up, moving around, she had been very lucid. And after she made the decision that she was ready to go, she sort of began the dying process. And so she was laying in bed and her family was surrounding her, and she would see different people, loved ones that have passed, kind of appear at the end of her bed. She would have these conversations with them, and then they would go away. And then it would be her husband who had passed would appear, and then they'd have a conversation, he'd go away. It'd be her parents, and all the while, her family's watching this happen. And I'm watching it happen, I'm like, this is blowing my mind. And I think it's because she embraced it. She embraced this transition that we're all going to go through, and she welcomed it with open arms, and it was so beautiful. And so that's what's kind of led me to this path, is seeing how hard it can be on families when we don't have this done, and how beautiful it can be when we prepare and we embrace the transition with open arms. So that's kind of why I'm here, why I'm doing this, and why I'm sharing this with you all. I think that it's kind of the greatest gift you can give others, to your family specifically, to have your wishes known so that they can focus on grieving, and they don't have to focus on guessing what you would have wanted. So who here knows what an advance directive is? Okay, cool. So we have kind of a mix. It's sort of a confusing term, so I'm going to break it down really simply. An advance directive is basically a future instruction manual for your loved ones. So it's really two parts. The first part is what medical treatments you do or do not want. And then the second part of that instruction manual is who do you designate to make those decisions for you? And the names of those things are the living will, that's the instruction manual of the medical care you do or do not want. And then the designated power of attorney is that person that you say, hey, I trust you to make these decisions for me. And those two things together are an advance directive. You're directing what you want in advance. So I'm going to be using that term a lot. Is that clear to everybody, like what an advance directive is? Okay. And there's lots of different versions of them. You do have the New Hampshire Advance Directive in there. We'll go through your folder here in a minute. And I also want to just applaud all of you for being here. I know some of you are probably here to support me, which is wonderful, but it's also you're here to talk about death, to talk about this thing that so many of us try to avoid for as long as we can. And it's only about, the numbers are kind of fuzzy, but only about like 20 to 30% of adults have their advance directives done. So the fact that you're here, you're willing to think about these things, talk about these things, I give you a big round of applause. So that being said, we're going to be talking about kind of a vulnerable topic, talking about our deaths. And so it might get a little bit emotional, possibly. I do have tissues if anybody needs them. You can just signal me, I can toss you a pack. But I just want to give you kind of blanket permission that if you need to step out, if you need to maybe talk with me or David or somebody on the side, you can do that. Just take whatever you need and know that it's completely normal to feel emotions coming up around this topic, because it's scary, it's unknown, and a lot of people avoid it, but you're here and I give you huge kudos for that. So I would love to, there's a lot of people here, which I wasn't expecting so many. So I would love to at least just go around the room and everybody say your name, since we're all here and we're kind of sharing in this vulnerable space. So if you would just want to just say your name, and so we all know everybody's name, it'd be great.
Carol Derman, Linda Connor,
Linda,
Christy Jadlocke,
Sally Hour,
Kay Reynolds,
Sally Kendrick,
Chris Spalding,
Carol Hamilton,
Dale Roberts,
Fred Roberts.
Sandy Murray, Carolyn McKean, Marion Toll.
Surprise, David Jameson, but I know Spike.
I didn't know that was your name.
Hi, honey.
Kay Jameson, Donna Turcott,
Rob Turcott, Bruce Landis.
Karen Landis, Wanda Kaufman,
You'll fine.
Alice Beatty,
Russell Davis. Yeah, Tim Kelly.
Deb Dow, Don Hall,
Bill Hall.
Becky Weber, Helen Whittemore.
Oh.
Awesome. And I'm Megan, or Meg Titcomb. So my goal for us all over the course of these two sessions is to, one, demystify advance directives. The way I think about advance directives and why I feel like people don't want to do them is because it is the medical world meets the legal world, and we're talking about death. It's like confusing and intimidating meets confusing and intimidating meets confusing and intimidating, and it all comes down into one document. And so my goal is I want to demystify this, what an advance directive is, so you can look at it and not be intimidated by it. And then my second goal is to help you get the conversation started, whether it's with your partner, with your kids, or with a friend. Just beginning the conversation is really, really important. And then if any of you have the goal to have your advanced directives completely done and dusted by the end of these 2 sessions, we should be able to do that. So hopefully through today and 2 weeks from now, you'll gain some clarity and some insight, and you'll know how you want to complete this advanced directive. And we have all the things in our packet to be able to do that. Everyone sound good?
Yep.
Awesome. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay. So obviously I've brought it up a lot already, but we're talking about death, which can be intimidating. It can be scary, especially because we all know that one day we will die, but we don't know how, and we don't know when. So that can bring a lot of fear. But there is a way to look at it that makes that really beautiful, because not a single moment is guaranteed. Every single interaction we have with somebody could be our last interaction. And so it can really inspire us to live fully and with love and to enjoy every precious moment. And there's a poem that I love by Mary Oliver that I think really encapsulates this, that I'm going to read. And it's called The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face, and now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel into the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So that's the kind of the energy and the spirit that I want us to move forward with as we go through this. And I also encourage you all to kind of root down into your spiritual side. And I don't necessarily mean religion. It might be religion, but I encourage you to tap into that thing that makes you feel connected to something greater, something outside of yourself. And as we go through this, that spiritual side can help lead you in filling out your advanced directive. It can also help steady you if you start to feel scared or nervous. You can use that spirituality as your North Star. And I'll kind of demonstrate what I mean by this a little bit later. But think about what that thing might be that makes you feel connected to something greater. It could be nature, community, religion, astrology, animals. There's so many different things. So we're going to take a couple deep breaths together now, kind of let that settle in, and then we're going to move on to a little bit more of the logistical stuff. All right, let's take a deep breath in together. And out. Deep breath in. And let it out. One more deep breath in. And let it out. All right. Now we're going to move on to our folders and the things that we have there in front of us. And did Beth ever return the copies?
She's working on it.
Okay. So in your folder, you have on the left-hand side, it is the New Hampshire Advanced Directive. And I'm going to hand you all either an official version or a copy of the 5 Wishes, which is a different type of advanced directive, which we'll go over in depth. And then on the right-hand side, there are some reflective questions that we'll do a little bit later this evening. There is some homework for you to do in between this session and the next. And then there's a reference or resource guide. So there's resources that list 4 or 5 different websites where you can get a lot of really great information about completing your advanced directives, specifically in New Hampshire. And then there is some scratch paper in there too, if you need like a little more paper to write on. So I guess I will begin. So I don't have enough of the official 5-Wish documents, but there is a really wonderful version of it online. I actually prefer the online version. And so for those of you who will want to do the online version, I would like to give the sample document so that anybody that wants to do the official version can do the official version and use that as their advanced directive. But if you want to do the online version, I'll give you a sample. Does anybody want to volunteer to do the online? Okay. And then,
And that's just brought,
oh, awesome. Okay, perfect timing. Okay. So who is online? Okay. Oh, yeah, yep, that's just reflection questions.
Oh, thank you.
You do an online version? Oh.
Yes, oh, the official.
Yes, and that's the official version. So if you're more of like a paper copy kind of person, I encourage you to use that one.
if they already have a directive, we shouldn't do this, right? This is different, okay.
You can do it, but if you don't want it to negate your own one, just don't sign it. But you can use it to take notes and all of that. Online. Okay, and then the rest, everyone else can get
Taken on.
official. So you can just use this one, but you don't have to sign it and make it official. All right. I just need to have enough copies for everybody.
So you have bonus 2 weeks. Everybody have one?
Oh, do you need one?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Oh, yeah.
My mother supports her time between New Hampshire and Arizona,
Oh, okay.
so how does that affect?
So New Hampshire is a special state, so I'll answer that in 1 second. So the 5 Wishes document is really, it's great because it's valid in all 50 states, except New Hampshire requires you to do an additional step. It requires you to also fill out the New Hampshire Advanced Directive. So I would encourage you to do the New Hampshire Advanced Directive as well as the Arizona one, because New Hampshire only recognizes New Hampshire. So the way that the 5 Wishes works in New Hampshire is that you fill this out, you have it witnessed, and then you also have to do the same thing with the New Hampshire Advanced Directive. And then once that's done, it makes this legal. And pretty much every other state, this is legal once it is witnessed. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay.
So if we have a New Hampshire directive, and I go to visit my son or my daughter in Kansas, my directive isn't, or I'm hospitalized, my directive doesn't carry to that state, is that what you're saying?
I think if you have a copy of it, most doctors and states will recognize it. But I think to be safe in the case of if you split your time between New Hampshire and Arizona, probably best to have the New Hampshire one done as well as, I don't know if Arizona requires its own specific
So if
advanced
I
directive.
travel somewhere out of state, should I take this with me?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And I take the other one too, right?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
This one.
Yes,
okay,
I'm covered on all bases.
all right. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to review this five wishes document. And we're not gonna look at the New Hampshire one until next time. We're gonna review the five wishes documents. This is a very, I love this document because it's holistic. It takes into account the body, mind, and the spirit. This was inspired by Mother Teresa. A man named James Towie created this document after he worked in a hospice, one of Mother Teresa's hospice facilities, and he saw the way that she treated and cared for the dying. And so he created this advanced directive, which is what they say is like an advanced directive with a heart and a soul. And we're going to answer wishes 3, 4, and 5 today. And then next time, we're going to answer wishes 1 and 2. So I'll walk us through this, and I can answer any questions. I know this is a lot of kind of like legal, confusing stuff, but I'll walk us through this advanced directive, and then I'll answer any questions that you have, okay? So if you want to follow along, we have the 5 wishes document. And then in the very opening, it kind of just gives you some background into this document, where it's legal, where you need like additional, it says in the state of New Hampshire, you need to make an additional step, which is doing the New Hampshire Advanced Directive. So if you want to read this part on your own time, you can do that afterwards. And then we get to wish 1. Wish 1 is the person I want to make care decisions for me when I cannot. And this is essentially your designated power of attorney. This is where you say, this is the person that I want to make decisions for me. Is this making sense so far?
Yep.
Okay. Wish 2. This says, the person that I want to make healthcare decisions, oh wait, that's wish 1. My wish for the kind of medical treatment I do or do not want. Wish 2 is what we call a living will. And this tells our power of attorney that I do want this care or I don't want this care. This is where it gets a little bit technical. We're going to focus on this one next time because this is where life support comes into account. And that can be, it's a lot of gray area. Life support is a lot of gray area. And that's why I like to do that one in the second session because there's some groundwork that I like to lay with that. Wish 3 is my wish for how comfortable I want to be. This is once we are already in the dying process. This is how you want to be made comfortable. You get to express if you want to have warm oils rubbed on your skin or have your mouth kept moist with a wet swab, these kinds of things. This is where the holistic part comes in. Wish 4 is my wish for how I want people to treat me. This is where you get to express.
I have
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
You didn't mention, for me, it's the most important thing. I want to be without pain.
Yeah, that's
I
in
don't
here.
care about the oil. I don't have to feel anything.
It's in wish 3.
Yeah, wish 3.
Yeah, it's in wish 3, and we'll get into that in more depth.
Okay.
But wish 4 is about how you want people to treat you when you're in the dying process, and then wish 5 is what you want your loved ones to know. This is a lot more about legacy and about planning a memorial service or what you want done with your body once you have passed away. And so if we think about these 5 wishes on a continuum, it's wish 1 and 2 are when we are still sick and still making decisions about our medical care. Wish 3 and 4 are when we are already in the dying process. And then wish 5 is once we've passed away, these are the things that I want people to know. This is what I want done, like to honor myself, my legacy, and what I want done with my remains. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that's my orientation for you to this document. What we're going to do today is I'm going to guide you through a deathbed meditation. I'm going to take you into the mindset of you at your deathbed. And I want you to, I'm going to pose lots of questions for you to consider. Big questions. There's a lot of big questions. And then I'm going to give you some reflective questions. That's what's in your folder there. And give you time to answer some of these reflective questions. And then once you have done that, you will be able to answer wishes 3, 4, and 5. How are we feeling? Can we get like a thumb barometer, how everyone's feeling?
We're good, we're good.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, we are.
I know it can be heavy and it can be a lot. It's death, it's legal stuff, it's medical stuff. Like I said, it can be a lot. And again, you guys are doing it. You're doing great. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition into the meditation. So if you want to get comfy, give yourself a little space, whatever you need. I'll have you close your eyes. We'll kind of settle in and just listen to my voice as I guide you through this meditation. Okay? Maybe I'll turn some of these lights off too.
Right there. No sleeping.
No sleep. Yeah. Yeah, if I hear snoring, I'll come tap you. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to pose lots of questions for you to consider as we go through this. Just think about the things that come up in your mind, and then you'll have time afterwards to reflect on it, to write about it. All right, let's settle into stillness. Close your eyes and allow yourself to drop into this moment. And be kind and gentle with yourself if and when your mind wanders. And know that this is normal. And be kind and gentle with yourself if and when you feel challenging emotions. And know that this is also normal. You're about to tap into a beautiful perspective on your life and death. Center yourself by beginning to bring your attention to your breath, which is your source of life. Maybe place one hand over your heart, creating a sense of connection with yourself. And open your heart, your mind, and your soul. Now soften the muscles in your chest. Drop your shoulders. You can drop your hand if you place it on your chest. Bring softness to your face and your jaw. Allow yourself to just sink into your chair, into the space around you. Begin to feel a sense of peace about you as you let go of your tension, your worries, and the external world. Allowing yourself to be right here, right now, in this moment. We're going to take 3 deep breaths here. In through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. Let's breathe in and let it go. Nice deep breath in and let it go. Last one, deep breath in and let it go. And now breathe naturally. And as you continue to breathe, feel the beginning, the middle, and the end of each breath. Everything has an end, and everything is fleeting. You must let go. Each breath carries a past, a present, and a future. But we live in its present. The breath comes and then it goes. And internally tell yourself, I am secure, I am strong, and I have the answers inside of myself. And if you feel worried, it's okay. And when it is time to die, it will occur in an ordinary living moment just like this one. Everything, every breath, every moment, every human, every life will come to an end. I am of the nature to grow old. I am of the nature to sicken. I am of the nature to die. Buddha. And now we're going to travel forward in time. And you are nearing the end of your life. You're resting in a place of absolute safety. And as you look down, you study the familiar lines of your palms and the unique texture of your own skin. You feel a profound sense of rest, as if you have finally finished a long, meaningful journey. And despite the aches, you are lying in peace, warm and comfortable. Take this time now to create this place in your mind. Perhaps it's a place you know, or maybe it's someplace you've never been. But wherever you are, it's a place that brings you immense comfort, where you can peacefully live out the final days of your life. I'm going to pose some questions to you for you to consider as you lie in this place. Where are you? What do you see around you? How are you being cared for in this space? What does it feel like to be physically supported and at ease? Who, if anyone, do you sense to be there with you? And how are they caring for you, treating you? perhaps they're sitting there in silence, or perhaps there's a touch or a gesture that makes you feel safe. But wherever you are and whoever is there, you are profoundly comfortable. You are aware that this may be your final night on earth, and you feel an overwhelming sense of acceptance. You know that your time is close, and that while your body is tired, your mind is calm. As you lie there, you begin to reflect on your life. Memories come rushing back. You reflect on moments of joy, struggle, and perseverance. You have lived a life full of experiences, relationships, and lessons. Take this time now to reflect on these life experiences. Suddenly, there's a soft knock at your door, and it is a young child. They've come to sit by your side and gently hold your hand. This child looks up at you and asks, "Are you afraid to die?" You smile warmly and reply in a way that resonates deeply within you. The child then asks, "How do you want us to remember you once you have passed on?" You pause, feeling a deep sensation in your belly as you reflect on how you want to be remembered. What do you want your loved ones to know about how you feel about them? What messages do you want to leave with them? What stories do you want them to keep telling of you? And how do you want your life to be honored by those you leave behind? The child looks at you with wisdom beyond their years and says, "Can you tell me your wishes? I promise to make sure that everyone knows exactly what you wanted." And at this, you feel a sense of relief that your heart and your needs are understood. Take this time now to connect with those wishes, how you want to be treated, how you want to be remembered, and what you want to say to those you love. Now allow this vision to fade away. Allow yourself to return back into this physical space that we're all in. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Maybe take a deep breath. Give yourself a little shake to feel your aliveness, to feel your vitality. Come on back to the room whenever you're ready. And then in your packet, you'll find reflective questions on the right-hand side. And if you're sharing, you can use the scratch paper in the very back of the folder to write your answers. And so I'm going to give you some time now to go over those questions, reflect, write down your answers. For the next maybe 10 minutes or so. And feel free, if you need me to come over and help you, you can call me over. We're going to reflect on these questions, and then the answers to these questions will help you to fill out wishes 3, 4, and 5 in your advanced directive, the 5 wishes. Okay, yeah, we'll turn the lights back on. Thank you. And we're back. Also, feel free to help yourself to the cookies and coffee.
you want phosphorus notes? No. No. I just want, I would experience with phosphorus. That's what I think about when I
Yeah.
think about this. My mother.
Check out the cookies. Like I really need a cookie. Would you like, no, thank you. More water.
Yeah, okay, since you're going up there anyway. So I don't choke to death again before I get this done.
We'll take about 2 more minutes. Do those questions.
Yeah.
So that will be our key. Finish up those reflective questions, get your snacks, your coffee, whatever, and then we'll reconvene. And for those of you that are going to be doing the online version of this, you can of course make your notes, mark your copy as much as you want, and it'll be very easy to go online to 5wishes.org, buy the online version, and then you can just fill it right out online. So feel free to take your notes, mark this up as much as you want, and then you can go online and buy that version and fill it out.
Fill it out and then you just print it out for yourself, or what do you do?
So you have it witnessed by 2 people. We can go into that a little bit later, but you get it witnessed online, and then you can print out a version.
Yeah.
And keep a copy of it. and send a
Or
copy.
you do this and you just keep it yourself.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. We'll give people another minute or so to get their snacks, and then we'll reconvene.
Yeah. All right, Meg, so bottom line is to do both. I mean, do 5 wishes and do the advanced directive.
Yeah, so this is advanced directive, but you also have to do the New Hampshire advanced directive, yes. Correct.
Does this have to be witnessed by a lawyer?
You need 2 witnesses. They don't need to be a lawyer. It can be, the criteria is they have to be over 18, can't be a family member, can't be a healthcare provider.
Okay.
So pretty much any 2 people in this room
Okay.
would do. All right, we're gonna start moving on to filling out this, which is 3, 4, and 5. And so if you're feeling like, I don't know if I want to do this advanced directive, you can just take notes on this. You don't have to make this legal. You don't have to get it witnessed. It only becomes legal once it's been witnessed by 2 people and you also sign the New Hampshire advanced directive. So feel free to use this as scratch paper, make your notes, what have you. If you know that you want to use this advanced directive, you can still make notes on it, but just keep in mind that it will become a legal document. So use your best judgment. If you want to use the pencil to make notes or whatever, or if you're feeling really confident, you want to use a pen, use your best judgment here as we go through and start marking up the 5 wishes document. All right, so let's flip to wish 3. All right, so wish 3 is my wish for how comfortable I want to be. This is you expressing to your loved ones, the people around you, how you want to be made comfortable once you are in the dying process. And the way that this advanced directive works is it's very user-friendly. So these bullet points are all ways to be comfortable. If you like the bullet point, you just leave it exactly as it is. If you don't like that or you don't agree with it, you cross it out. Or you can edit it, or you can add to it. So if you like it, you just leave it. If you don't like it, cross it out. Online, there's a way to toggle yes or no to each bullet point, and there's comment boxes under each one. So I really like the online one. You can add lots of comments. So I'll go through some of these and add some of my commentary, and then I'll let you kind of go on your own. So the very first one, is everyone seeing wish 3? We're at the first bullet point, wish 3. Okay. I do not want to be in pain. I want my doctor to give me enough medicine to relieve my pain, even if that means I will be drowsy or sleep more than I would otherwise. If you agree with this sentiment, you can leave it exactly as is. If you do not agree with it, you can cross it out. Or what I have done on my own is I added a little extra. I said, I'm okay with a little bit of pain if I can be more alert with my friends and my family, but I don't want to be in excruciating pain. So I put a number on it. I said, I'm okay with being a 4 out of 10 on the pain scale. So if you want to add that comment, you can add that comment there. Is that making sense, everybody? Okay,
That's a good one.
okay.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so if your priority is no pain, then make that known. If your priority is being able to interact a little bit, make that known. That's what's so great about this. There's tons of ways to edit it and change it. All right, so I'm just gonna start reading through some of these. If I show signs of depression, nausea, shortness of breath, or hallucinations, I want my caregivers to do whatever they can to help me. Again, if you like that, if you agree with that, keep it as is. If you don't, cross it out or edit it. I wish to have a cool, moist cloth put on my head if I have a fever. So now we're getting, yes. That's okay.
No, so you enter into this document and you select a direction for your care,
Mhm.
and circumstances change at the bedside.
Yeah.
You may be knocking on death's door,
Mhm.
but you've had some good fortune and you recover or
Yeah.
something like that. So how does the document address, you go from
Mm,
pain level 4,
yeah.
all of a sudden you're feeling a lot better, you don't need anymore. How does that happen if you're not able to communicate beyond having this document as the guiding force?
So that's a really great question. So the one thing that is kind of the most important part of this document is it only comes into play when you cannot make decisions for yourself. If you are too sedated or you're too sick or whatever, then this comes into play. If something happens and you start feeling better and you become lucid, you make the decisions again. So this only is active when you are designated, what's that?
If you're out to lunch.
Yes, when you're out to lunch. That's the only way this is active. But if you start feeling better and you can communicate, like, hey, I'm having pain, treat it, they will do that. So yeah, that is an important piece, is that this becomes active when the doctor says that you are no longer able to make decisions for yourself, and now your designated power of attorney is the one that gets to call the shots for you. Does that answer your question? Okay.
I think this should be in the
Um,
hospital.
So the next bullet point is, I want my lips and mouth kept moist to stop dryness. Seems fair enough, but maybe not everybody likes having moist lips. I wish to have warm baths often. I wish to be kept fresh at all times. I think that this is a good one personally, but things that I like to consider in this document is, what are my caregivers doing? Like, if they're able to keep me as clean as possible, but if it means that they have to be up all day and all night to do so, you can make a note and say, like, I still want my caregivers to take care of themselves. This next one, I wish to be massaged with warm oils as often as I can be. My husband hates this one.
That's wrong.
He said, absolutely not, no warm oils for him.
Nope,
It's a controversial one, so keep it, cross it out.
no smelly stuff either, no potpourri.
Yeah, exactly. That's important stuff to write down. If I'm not able to control my bowel or bladder functions, I wish for my clothes and bed linens to be kept clean and for them to be changed as soon as they can. They have been soiled.
I definitely don't want to scratch that out.
Yeah.
Who would want to?
Right. I wish to have personal care like shaving, nail clipping, hair brushing, and teeth brushing as long as it does not cause me pain or discomfort. I wish to have religious or spiritual readings and well-loved poems read aloud when I am near death. And this is a really great place to write those down. If you have a poem, like I love that Mary Oliver poem, if you have a verse or scripture that you really love, this is a really good place to put that stuff down. I wish to know about options for hospice care to provide medical, emotional, and spiritual care for me and my loved ones. Hospice is amazing, and they have lots of resources. I'm sure many of you have had experiences with hospice. Hospice is wonderful, and I encourage people to always get hospice involved as soon as possible. They have lots and lots that they can provide you.
The only problem with hospice, they don't come often enough.
Yeah,
In the hair,
Once a
yeah.
day,
Mm.
and you're there for the rest of the day to do
right. Yeah,
the rest.
that's why it's so important too, so everybody knows what you want.
But being in hospice house is wonderful.
That's wonderful, yeah.
They just take such good care. So what's the difference between hospice and palliative care? Are they the same?
They're not the same. So you can get palliative care. Palliative care prioritizes comfort, but you can also still get treated for an infection or illness or whatever, where hospice is you're more actively dying and it's all about supporting just a dying body essentially. Or palliative is comfort is a priority, but you can also be treated for illness. Any other questions or concerns about wish 3 before we move on? Okay, yeah, these ones are pretty straightforward. Okay, we're gonna go on to wish 4. This is my wish for how I want people to treat me. And I call this one, this is like we're creating the vibe. Creating the vibe of our deathbed and all the people around us. And so I wish to have people with me when possible. I want someone to be with me when it seems that death may come at any time. So the point I like to make on this one is I don't want my loved ones to feel really bad if they go take a shower or they leave for the day and I pass away. So I wrote a note in mine where it'd be great if somebody was there, but if somebody steps away to take care of themselves and I pass away, it's okay.
Don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad, because remember, this document is really for your loved ones. It's for you, but it's largely for your loved ones. This is the gift you get to give them. They don't have to live with that guilt because you say, it's okay. You know, it's okay to go take care of yourself for a day, go get a good sleep. The next point is, I wish to have my hand held and be talked to when possible, even if I don't seem to respond to the voice or touch of others. I wish to have others by my side praying for me when possible. I wish to have the members of my faith community told that I am sick and asked to pray for me and visit me. I know this is kind of, some people love that. Some people don't want everybody to know. So express your wishes here. I wish to be visited by a chaplain, and if there's someone in particular, write their name down. Who do you want to be there for you?
Only if he rides a horse in.
Only if you have to horse.
You gonna provide the horse? You provide the horse and I'll ride it in.
Gabriel calling us, and you have to sing my old Kentucky home.
You know,
I'm just saying, that's what I want.
I will say, like, the one around, like, spiritual readings, I once was asked to come see someone who I didn't know. The kids asked me to come in. I had maybe met him twice. And they said, we want you to sing her religious songs. What do you want me to sing? They said, well, you know religious songs. You pick them. So I sang, Jesus loves a little children. I mean, I didn't know what to sing. So you leave the lyrics to Kentucky Home and I'll do it.
I've already told my kids.
Oh, no, that's great. I love that. Yeah, these are your dying wishes. Go big. You know? Might as well.
David better hope we don't all die at once.
Yeah.
This next one is kind of controversial. I wish to be cared for with kindness and cheerfulness and not sadness. I was doing this with somebody and they're like, I don't want people to be cheerful. I want everyone to be sad. Or you can just allow people to feel whatever they're feeling. If you're feeling sad, they don't have to fake cheerfulness if they don't want to. But putting whatever feels right for you here. I wish to have pictures of my loved ones in my room near my bed. I wish to have my favorite music played when possible until the time of my death. Again, what would that music be?
Hymns.
Yeah, right.
Favorite hymns.
There you go. Yeah, write down your favorite music, your favorite hymns, however you want to set the vibe. Remember, this is where we're creating our vibe here. I want to die in my home if that can be done. I know that's a big one for a lot of people. Most of us want to be not in a hospital if possible. And then I wish to be called by my name. And I think this is on here for staff purposes. If you're maybe in a hospital or somewhere where people don't know you as well, you can write what name you want to be called by. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about wish 4? All right. Now we're going to move on to wish 5. So again, as we're going through our continuum, we have passed through the dying process, and now this is a little bit more about our legacy and our like the memorial or celebration of life, things like that. So I wish to have my family and friends know that I love them. It's a good one. I wish to be forgiven for the times I have hurt my family, friends, and others. I wish to have my family, friends, and others know that I forgive them for when they may have hurt me in my life. I wish for my family and friends to know that I do not fear death. I think it's not the end, but a new beginning. If that's something you believe, you can elaborate on there about that, or not, cross it out. I wish for all my family members to make peace with each other before my death if they can. Big, tall order. Might as well throw it out there, right?
I'm not helping with that one. There are limits.
Yeah, we can't promise miracles, but you can ask. I wish for my family and friends to think about what I was like before I became seriously ill. I want them to remember me in this way after my death. It's a good one. Yep. I wish for my family and friends and caregivers to respect my wishes even if they don't agree with them. That is a huge one. That is really big. And we'll go into that more next session, but I have seen people choose designated power of attorneys who go against people's wishes. And it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my nursing career. It's awful. And so it's really important to choose people that will follow your wishes even if they don't agree with them, because this is about you and your life and your death, and they should honor that. So that's a very, very big, important one. I wish for my family and friends to look at my dying as a time of personal growth for everyone, including me. This will help me live a meaningful life in my final days. I wish for my family and friends to get counseling if they have trouble with my death. I want memories of my life to give them joy and not sorrow. After my death, I would like my body to be buried or cremated. And I like to add that there's other options. There are things like aquamation, so it's cremation through water. Green burials are becoming more popular. I know there's one or two, I think, in New Hampshire now. Green cemeteries. They don't use the formaldehyde and all the other chemicals and things. And then you can also donate your body to science. They do terramation, also known as human composting, which doesn't sound as pleasant, but so there's other options for your body once you've passed away. And it's in Wish 5 specifically where I think rooting into our spirituality and our values really comes into play. So for me, I feel most connected to something greater when I am in nature. When I'm outside and I see the ocean or mountains, that's where I feel connected to something greater. And so it's really important for me that my body's last act on earth is not to pollute it. So it's important for me that I would love a green burial or human composting or terramation because that aligns with my values, that aligns with my spirituality. And so do the same for yourself here. Like root into what is the most important and make it really count. Then there's an option here. So my body or remains should be put in the following location. And then the following person knows my funeral wishes. So you can let a family member or friend know what you want your funeral wishes to be. If you want to go a step further, you can even write it down. Like that woman I told you about in the beginning. She wrote down her flowers, the songs she wants sung, Even your own eulogy, you can write your own eulogy. There's no reason you can't. And then these last few are freehand writing. So this one I think is kind of funny. If anyone asks how I want to be remembered, please say the following about me. I think this one is a bit strange to tell people how to remember you. And I like to frame this, think about how you want to be remembered and live that way, right? Like, live it now so that people talk about you in the way you want to be talked about once you live the past. What's that?
I said, you don't have to tell them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to tell them, you can just show them with your daily acts. If there is to be a memorial service for me, I wish the service to include the following. So again, it's more information about a funeral service. It is important for my healthcare providers to know what matters most to me. I wish for them to know the following. Again, if you're in a facility or a hospital or something, I think this is where this comes into play. And then in the space below, you can please use the space below for any other wishes. For example, if you want to donate your body to science or something, or charity, or if you want to donate to charity, or you may want to give instructions on what should be done with your social media, your electronic records. There's a whole lot to consider there. So let's see, how are we doing on time? So we
What's
have.
the difference between giving the money to charity or for scientific purposes?
So I misspoke there. It says you may wish to designate a charity to receive memorial contribution. So I think that's talking about if there is a charity or something you really believe in, you can, leave money behind for said charity. And then,
Flowers or.
Yeah.
Have it go.
Yeah, exactly. Does anybody have questions, comments, anything about Wish 5? I know this is a big one. There's a lot more planning involved in this one than the other wishes.
The green kind of
Yeah.
stuff, can we have the websites for that?
For the green burial?
Yeah. How we can find out more information about it?
You probably just Google Green Cemetery in New Hampshire. Yeah, actually, yeah, because I think there's one or two. There's not a lot, but it's a growing trend. Yeah.
Something like that in Hillsborough.
In Hillsborough?
In Hillsborough, it's not a green burial, but it's a forest. So you can have your ashes buried there's different levels of trees that you can purchase and whatnot. Yeah.
Is it still a designated place so you can find the place, or is it unknown?
In Hillsborough, it's depends on how much you pay. Honestly, like there are some that your ashes are just scattered, but then there's certain levels that they'll have like a GPS marker, or like you can have coordinates, or there's a plaque or things like that. It's such a new place, and it's unclear to me how much money has been set aside for its long-term upkeep. So it sounds cool, but do a little research before you spend a lot of money, because like local town cemeteries, right, are owned by the town, or there's investment, so they're maintained. But like this forest thing, it might, I don't know. I'm not saying it does or doesn't. It's just something I would look into first. How do they plan to maintain it 50 years from now, so that someone can go see you? Or is it just an overgrown forest with some markers? I don't know. Yeah.
Excuse me. And then there is the sixth wish, which is a wish that I made up. So it's not in the book. The last wish I kind of pose to all of you is, how do you wish to live your life now? Everybody in this room is very much alive. We can still make our impression. We can still kind of, we can live our legacy right now. And so that's my kind of my parting thought to you today is, how do you wish to live your life now? Now that we still are alive, we have lots of vitality inside of us. And we took ourselves into our deathbed today, and that can be kind of heavy, and sometimes that can illuminate things. So I encourage you to reflect on that for the rest of, as you leave today. reflect on how you choose to live your life while you still are able to live your life. It's such a beautiful gift. And I have homework for you guys. So in your packet, there is a sheet called I Couldn't Live Without list. Everybody see that? So in 2 weeks from now, we're going to be addressing wish 2 and wish 1. Wish 2 is your living will that designates the care you do or do not want. And so I encourage you to reflect on some things that you feel like you couldn't live without, as far as certain functions of your body, certain like abilities, ability to take care of yourself, ability to breathe on your own, ability to eat on your own. It's big, heavy questions, but sometimes we're faced with these questions when we get really sick. Our family has to decide if our loved one's going to remain on a ventilator or not. So they're big questions to consider. So that's why I want you to think about this when you're at home. What are the most important things to you? Things you couldn't live without. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about, I'm going to go through different types of life support. Just again, it's kind of heavy, it's kind of technical. And then we'll answer wishes 2 and then wish 1. And the reason I do wish 1 last is because it's important for us to consider all the hard decisions that are going to have to be made before we decide who we want to move those. Sometimes it's the people that are closest to us are not necessarily the best people to make those decisions. So that's why we kind of go in that reverse order. So your homework is to complete the I couldn't live without list and then finish up wish 5 if you still have, I'm sure you still have some things to do on that. And that is all for today. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Oh, yes.
So this is, couldn't live without.
properly.
Yes.
How does that tie into the